Hi, my name is Robin Wong. I'm a photographer based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I have with me the Pergear 60mm F2.8 macro lens. This is an upgraded version and it does true 200% magnification macro. I want to talk about this lens in this video. Let's do this! Before we start, here are some important disclaimers. Pergear sent me this lens and I get to keep this lens after this. However, they are in no way influencing my opinion or what I'm saying in this video. This is not a review. I don't intend to do a full review for this lens. I only want to use this lens specifically for insect macro photography. So I'm going to share my opinion on what I like and dislike about this lens in the context of shooting insect macro. To avoid any confusion, Pergear told me that this particular 60mm f2.8 lens is a different version from the one that was released 2 years ago. There was another 60mm f2.8 macro that does 200% magnification. That was the older version, and Pergear specifically stated that this particular version is an upgraded version. What's different? They told me that there are two main differences. Number one, it is more optimized for use in full-frame cameras. That obviously doesn't apply to this OM system OM1, which is a micro four thirds system. And number two, it has better flare control. To test this Pergear 60mm f2.8 macro lens, I brought it out together with my OM system OM1 camera to park nearby my place to look for insects, spiders, and any little creatures that I can find. I used my insect macro shooting technique, which was using a wireless flash fire-off camera. I've shared this technique before. I'll put the link to the video up here. Please check it out. Before we go on further, let's look at some sample photographs taken with this lens. So what do I like about this Pergear 60mm f2.8 upgraded macro lens? First of all, I love its excellent build quality. The lens is made of full metal construction. It is made of metal all around the lens body, the barrel. There are no creaky parts. It feels very solid in hand. It does not feel like a cheap budget lens at all. There are only two controls on the lens, the manual focusing ring and the aperture ring, and are both very smooth and easy to operate. I also like the internal focusing mechanism of this lens. As you manual focus the lens, it does not extend. And this lens actually gives you a true 200% magnification, which means if you mount this lens on a crop system, say on this OM1 camera body, which has 2 times crop, you get an equivalent of about 400% magnification. And that is incredible. I know some people will complain that, but that's not true magnification. You cannot count the crop. So this is only 200%. Even 200% magnification, if you really think about it, for a budget lens, that's really amazing. I really appreciate the clear indication and markings of the magnification ratio on the lens body. Half magnification, 1 times, 2 times, it makes my life so much easier shooting insect macro. And I also like the fact that when I go full magnification, I get minimum working distance. The focusing distance is about 19 centimeters. That's very practical for me not to spook the insect or the bug that I'm shooting away. Looking at the images I've taken with this Pergear 60mm f2.8 upgraded macro lens, I'm very happy with the results. The images come out very sharp. The lens manages to resolve plenty of good details and contrast. I was shooting mostly from f5.6 to f11. Most of the time, the narrow aperture from f8 to f11 because I was shooting in very, very high magnification, mostly from 1x magnification or larger and close to 2x magnification. And some of the shots are actually 2x full magnification. Now, I can't tell you what aperture I use or what magnification because, hey, I've taken so many photographs and there is no record on this data in the photographs, and I can't remember everything, right? But from memory, most of my shots were taken from f8 to f11 and with very, very high magnification. And if you know Micro Four Thirds camera, if you shoot beyond f8, you do suffer a little bit of diffraction that will cause the images to look a little bit soft. But having said that, I'm still very happy with the images that's coming out from this lens. Even shooting beyond f8 to f11, the images still come out really, really good. I cannot comment on the technical flow controls like distortion, the corner softness, the flare, or anything else, any problems with this lens because I was only shooting specifically inside macro. This is a macro lens, I use it for its intended purpose, and shooting inside macro, I noticed none of these flaws. There are two things that I dislike about this lens: the size and weight. This lens, the Pergear 60mm f2.8 upgraded macro lens, was designed for use with a full frame camera. So the lens needs to cover a much larger image circle. Because of that, the lens is larger than necessary for a Micro Four Thirds setup, and it is not light either. The lens itself is as heavy as this OM1 camera, weighing at about 600 grams. I still okay handling this lens because I use the OM1, which has a really good beefy grip and it balances the lens quite okay. So handling wise, I wasn't really struggling when I was shooting inside macro, but I wouldn't recommend this lens to be used on smaller camera bodies, say the EM10 series bodies from Olympus, or the Pan series, the EPL series from Olympus, or the GX, or any of the smaller cameras, the GF series cameras from Panasonic. The lens will feel front heavy and you will actually struggle, it will strain your wrists or your fingers as you try to shoot extreme magnification, which is not easy if you haven't tried doing so. Other than that, I don't think there is much to complain about this Pergear macro lens. Pergear told me that the suggested retail price for this 60mm f2.8 upgraded macro lens is about $229 US. That's about 1,000 ringgit Malaysia. For a budget price, you get 2x true magnification, you get excellent build quality, you get really good image quality. Although this is a fully manual operated lens, I still think that this is perhaps the best budget macro lens available out there. I know there are some options from other manufacturers which would cost maybe twice or more than this, and I understand that the quality may be better, but hey, if you have the budget to spend, go for it. All right, for example, the Olympus M-Zuiko, sorry, it's no longer Olympus, I keep saying that. The OM system, 19mm f3.5 macro pro lens, which also gives you a 2x true magnification. It allows you to adapt a teleconverter. It has full autofocus mode. It allows focus stacking, and it's weather sealed. It's a true pro lens. I'm sure that will be sharper than this, but that will cost like what? I don't know, 5x, 7x more. So hey, if you're earning a living shooting macro, if you're doing macro photography professionally, getting a pro-grade lens makes sense. But if you just want to explore macro, you don't have a lot of cash to burn, but you still want that true 2x magnification, I think this Pergear 60mm f2.8 macro, this is a solid option. That's all I have to share about this Pergear 60mm upgraded macro lens. If you've enjoyed looking at my photographs, if you've benefited from my sharing, please consider buying me a cup of coffee, or you can contribute directly to my PayPal. Links in the description below on how I can do that. Any small contribution goes a long way, will definitely help me to continue making more content and publish them right here. Until the next one, please go out and take more photographs. Bye-bye.